So next point is that mode conversion, which is related to Snell's law. So when ultrasonic wave passes through an interface between the two material at an oblique angle, and the material have different indices of refraction, both reflected and refractive waves are produced. If you see here in this diagram, this is the longitudinal wave which is transmitted into the material 1 at predefined angle theta 1. So if we transmit a longitudinal wave at a predefined angle in a particular material, then some amount of energy will reflected at the same angle in the same material, and due to the refraction, sound wave can transmit into the adjacent material at an angle theta 2. So this is one type of conversion. There are two types of conversion we will see afterwards. So consider this is the first conversion, mode of conversion. When we transmit longitudinal wave into the material, then same or some amount of energy reflected at an angle theta 1, it is a reflected energy, and this VL2, it is refracted energy, which is again longitudinal wave. So this reflected wave is also longitudinal, this refracted wave is also longitudinal. So this is first mode of conversion. If you see here, this is the transducer which emits the longitudinal wave. Along with this vertical axis, this longitudinal wave makes an angle of incidence. So first sound wave transmit into the plastic material, and remaining sound can transmit into the steel material. So here angle of refraction which gives us longitudinal wave. So first conversion is that longitudinal wave gives us refracted longitudinal wave, and the second mode of conversion, it gives us shear wave at a different angle. So this is angle of refraction for longitudinal wave, and this is angle of refraction for shear wave. So see here in this diagram we see the first mode of conversion, and in this diagram we can see second mode of conversion, that longitudinal wave can refracted into two types of wave into the second material. First one refracted beam of longitudinal, and next one refracted beam of shear wave. Why it happens? Because as we consider the nature of shear wave, it can be generated with the help of longitudinal wave when longitudinal wave transmit at an predefined angle. So this is the philosophy behind shear wave. So due to that, when we transmit longitudinal wave at an predefined angle into the particular material, shear wave can be generated. So these are the two modes of conversion. First one, again I will repeat, longitudinal wave can reflect some amount of energy with an angle theta 1 in an opposite direction. The same wave transmit into the adjacent material, and it creates the same longitudinal wave which is a refracted one at an angle theta 2. This is first mode of conversion. If you consider here, as a theory of shear wave is concerned, when longitudinal wave is transmitted at an predefined angle, it also generates shear wave. So in this material, that is steel, we get two types of waves. First one longitudinal wave, and second one shear wave, which has different angle with vertical axis. So this is called as Snell's relation. So sin theta 1 upon sin theta 2 is equal to V1 upon V2. So that theta 1 and theta 2 is nothing but theta 1 angle of incidence and theta 2 angle of refraction. V1 is nothing but velocity in first medium and V2 is nothing but velocity in second medium. So with the help of this relation, we get a relationship between the angle of incidence and refraction as well as velocity. So it is used to determine the angular relationship between media for both longitudinal and shear wave. Means here in this formula we can consider velocity of shear wave as well as velocity of longitudinal wave as per as the requirements are concerned. Means if you want a shear wave which is to be transmitted into the another material, then in this formula we need to consider the shear wave of ultrasonic wave. If you consider or if you want the longitudinal wave which is to be transmitted into the adjacent material, then in this relation we need to consider the longitudinal velocity of that ultrasonic wave. So this is all about the Snell's law. See here why this conversion happens. So when longitudinal wave hits an interface of an angle at an angle, sum of energy can cause particle movement in the transverse direction to start a shear wave. Means here this is the second mode of conversion. Means this is a longitudinal wave coming from the first material and this is a refracted longitudinal wave, and due to this transmission of longitudinal wave at an predefined angle, we get converted shear wave also. So these are the two modes of conversion and the Snell's relation. So is that clear? Is that clear? Is that clear? Concept is clear or not? Are you getting this concept? Okay. So let us solve few numericals on Snell's law. So these are the given quantities. First one, shear velocity in steel, that is 3.23 into 10 raised to 5 centimeter per second. Longitudinal wave in steel 5.85 into 10 raised to 5 again centimeter per second. Longitudinal velocity in water 1.49 into 10 raised to 5, and longitudinal velocity in lucite. Lucite is one type of plastic material, so it is 2.79 into 10 raised to 5 again centimeter per second. So all type of velocities are given. See this diagram, this is lucite and the bottom one is steel, and the question is that if you wanted a shear wave, consider here the question is for to generate the shear wave. So if you wanted a shear wave to travel into steel at 60 degree angle, what would be the incident angle on the lucite wedge? So this is lucite and this is steel. The given is that if you wanted a shear wave to travel into steel, so this is 60 degree angle of refracted shear wave is given, and we need to calculate the incidence angle. So this is the relation, Snell's relation, that is sin theta 1 divided by sin theta 2 equal to V2 upon V1 upon V2. So here we want shear wave. So we need to consider the shear wave of ultrasound in steel, and as we know, here is the longitudinal wave which is transmitted into the first material. So we need to consider longitudinal velocity of lucite. So we need to consider these two values. This is the first and this is the second. In the given value, multiple velocities are given. It may confuse us while selection of V1 and V2. So according to the requirement of wave which is transmitted into the second material, we need to consider the velocities. So here sin theta 1 which is to be calculated, which need to calculate sin 60, theta 2 is given 60, equal to V1, that is 2.79 into 10 raised to 5, which is longitudinal velocity in first material, and 3.23 into 10 raised to 5, which is shear velocity in steel, because we need shear wave which is to be transmitted into steel. So with the help of this relation, we get theta 1 is equal to 48.42 something. So this is the first numerical. So in this numerical, we need to consider the velocities of sound wave, and it depends on the requirement. So precaution need to be taken while calculation. It is a very simple calculation, but selection of velocity plays a very vital role. So second numerical, what would be the refracted longitudinal view? So refracted longitudinal view, if the angle of incidence of water to steel interface is 12 degree. So angle of incidence is given, and we need to calculate the another angle, which is refracted longitudinal view. So this is the Snell's relation again. Sin theta 1 upon sin theta 2 is equal to V1 upon V2. Theta 1 incidence angle, theta 2 refracted angle, V1 velocity of first material, velocity of ultrasound in first material, and V2 velocity of ultrasound in second material. So here we need a longitudinal refracted view. So we need to consider longitudinal velocities of all 1.49 into 10 raised to 5 and 5.85 into 10 raised to 5. So theta 2 is equal to 54.72, approximately 55. So we get the value of theta 2, which is 55 approximately, with the help of this Snell's relation. And consider here, or remember here, we need a refracted longitudinal wave which is transmitted into the steel. So these are the few numericals related to Snell's law. I think concept of Snell's law is clear now. If you have any doubt, please ask. Are you getting this? Are you getting this Snell's relation? Yes, please reply. Are you getting this? Is there any doubt? Is there any doubt? Is there any doubt? Okay. Shall we move towards the another slide? Okay, thank you. Thank you. So, next point, types of ultrasonic inspection methods. So majorly there are two types of ultrasonic inspection method. First one, that is contact type technique, and second one, immersion testing technique. So in case of contact type, what happens? Probes are used in direct contact with the test specimen through a film of couplant. Means the probe is directly applied on the material, and there is a only minor film of, or you can say smallest film of couplant which is in between the transducer and specimen. So it is called as direct contact type technique. So in this, as we have multiple types of probe or multiple types of wave, so normal beam pulse echo technique, which is longitudinal wave transmitted into the material. Second one, normal beam through transmission. In pulse echo technique, single probe transmit and receives the ultrasound. In through transmission technique, we use two different probe. One is for transmission of sound wave and another is for receiving, or which receives the transmitted sound wave at another end of specimen. Means in case of through transmission, we need two sides of specimen, top as well as bottom. But in case of pulse echo technique, only one side is sufficient for inspection of material. Similar, if we use angle or shear wave with the help of angle probe, again the third type, angle beam with pulse echo technique, and next one, angle beam with through transmission technique. So pulse echo means single probe is used for transmission and receiving, and in through transmission two different probes are used. One is for transmission, another is for receiving the ultrasound. So these are the four types in contact type technique. In case of immersion testing technique, the basic immersion technique, second one bubbler technique, and the next one wheel transducer technique. We will see one by one. So the ultrasonic energy is coupled to the component being inspected through the couplant. So in normal beam pulse echo technique, couplant is used to transmit the sound energy into the material. The couplant transmit the ultrasound between face of transducer and the surface of component. Means that couplant replaces the presence of air in between the transducer and the component. So when ultrasonic energy travels through a test sample and strike a discontinuity or the extreme end, the part of energy will reflect back and the remaining part propagates into the material. So if we consider here this image, as we already discussed this image, so this is the transducer, this is the pulse echo technique transducer. Single probe can transmit and receives the ultrasound. So when ultrasound emits from transducer, it strikes over the extreme end or the flaw, and we get the synchronization between the machine and transducer. This is the crack echo and this is the back surface echo. So this is the normal beam pulse echo testing. So ultrasonic energy that is reflected and returned to the probe is the source of defect indication shown on instrument screen. So here this is the source of indication of crack. When this sound energy transmitted from this crack, we get this crack echo on the screen. This is normal beam pulse echo testing. Here we use longitudinal wave, we use single probe which transmit as well as receives the ultrasound. So this method can determine location of discontinuity by measuring time required. So on x-axis time is plotted, on y-axis amplitude, or we can say intensity of sound is plotted. So this method measures time required for an ultrasonic pulse to travel, reflect and return to the transducer. means one travel plus reflection and return received by the transducer. This time is measured and it is plotted on amplitude versus time graph, and we get location of discontinuity. So two-way transit time measured is divided by 2, means how it can be measured. It is given in sentence. The two-way transit time measured is divided by 2 because two-way transmission, to account for the down and back travel path, and multiply by the velocity of sound. Why multiply by the velocity of sound? If you consider the unit of velocity, it is meter per second. So velocity is meter per second. So it is meter per second. If you multiply this with time, we get meter, that is distance. So if you multiply with distance or time, then this time will get cancelled and we get only meter, that is distance. So this is the formula, that D, that is depth of discontinuity, can be measured by this formula. D is equal to V into small t divided by 2, and that t is nothing but time recorded by the instrument. So where d is distance from surface to the discontinuity in the test piece, we can say it is a depth of discontinuity. V is velocity of sound wave in the material, and t is the measured round trip transit time. So this is all about the normal beam pulse echo testing. So this normal beam pulse echo testing can be useful when only single surface of component is accessible. In that case, normal beam pulse echo testing is useful. Means in this case, the advantage is that we only need the single surface, means only we consider this surface for ultrasonic scanning. We cannot access the another side of component for testing. So this is the advantage of normal beam pulse echo testing. Second type, that is normal incidence through transmission technique. So if you consider this image, this is the transducer which transmit the sound energy, and this is the transducer which receive the ultrasonic energy, and L is the length of, or we can say thickness of component. So many times pulse echo technique may not provide required test information, because when there is a inclined orientation, or we can say parallel orientation to the longitudinal beam, the location is very near to the upper surface, then pulse echo technique may not use in that case. So when a flaw does not provide a suitable reflection surface, or the orientation or location of flaw, then in that case through transmission technique is used. So highly attenuating material are tested using through transmission technique. The technique is often used in large casting and highly attenuating material. What is meant by attenuation? It is loss of energy, loss of sound energy due to scattering and absorption. So in case of that particular material which absorbs high sound energy, in that case through transmission technique is used. So this is all about through transmission technique. It is very similar to the pulse echo technique. The principle is exactly same, but the difference is only that we are using two different probe on either side of component. So third type, that is angle beam pulse echo testing. So consider this image. In that, this gray color part is angle probe. What is the difference between normal probe and angle probe? In angle probe, the pulsar and receiver is placed at a predefined angle. So suppose this is a transducer. So in that case, in this transducer, piezoelectric element, or we can say pulsar or receiver, is placed at a predefined angle. So it has a particular angle with horizontal. So due to that inclination of piezoelectric crystal, the sound wave which transmit from this crystal, or we can say probe, it transmit at a predefined angle. So this is the angle, this is the theta. So this is the probe, this is the piezoelectric crystal which transmit the ultrasound, and when that crystal is placed at a predefined angle, then it gives us the wave at a predefined angle. So this is angle probe. This is weld joint. This V is nothing but groove of weld. This is the first sorry, this is the first type, this is the first plate, this is the first plate, and this is the second plate, which can be joined with the help of weld joint. See this terminology. This is full beam path, which can be measured from this D, E and F. It means that it is the distance from first leg plus second leg of ultrasound. First leg plus second leg. And the distance corresponding to this beam path is nothing but full skip distance. So the distance from D to F is called as a full skip distance. Here half skip distance, which is related to single leg. This full skip distance further extended to the central axis of weld. So it is full path distance plus the thickness of weld up to the central axis. So here half skip distance, it is related to the half beam path. So A to B, it is called as a single leg of transmission of sound wave, and the distance travel on the component itself, it is called as a half skip distance. You will see this terminology again in inspection of welding. So just familiar with this terminology. We will again discuss this same terminology in case of welding inspection. These all has their own formulas. So again we will see this terminology. So angle beam transducer provide access to the area that are inaccessible to the normal beam probe. So angle beam inspection is accomplished with shear wave probe. So when the angle probe is used, longitudinal wave transmit into the predefined angle, so it generates shear wave. So angle probe generates shear wave, which can be useful in the evaluation of welding, which is at an inclined orientation. So transverse wave at various angle of refraction between 35 to 80 are used to locate defect whose orientation is not suitable for detection by normal beam technique. So this is a wide range of angular beam, 35 to 80 degree, but widely used angles are 45, 60 and 70. So 60-degree angle probe, 70-degree angle probe and 45-degree angle probe. These three angle probes are sufficient to check any type of welding. So these three angle probes are widely used. So next type, that is immersion testing technique. So see this figure. Here the scenario is different. Here no contact between the plate and the transducer or probe. Probe is travel with the help of manipulator, which is placed on the top end of pot. The plate is immersed into the water. First, probe transmit the sound energy into the water. After propagation of sound energy into the water, that sound energy transmit the plate and it will give us the scenario of plate or detection of flaw. So this is normal beam technique. This image shows that normal beam technique because sound transmitted at an perpendicular to the surface. Means sound energy is normal to the surface. So it is normal beam technique. So in immersion testing, waterproof probe is used with water path or column acting as a couplant. Means in this case, this water is act as a coupler. So both the transducer and specimen are immersed into the water and the beam is transmitted through the water as a medium into the material, as I already discussed. So either a normal beam technique for generating a longitudinal wave or an angle beam technique for generating transverse wave can be used. So either normal beam technique or angle beam technique can be used in this immersion testing. So see this figure. If you differentiate these two figures, in this case probe is exactly parallel to the probe, parallel to the surface, and in this case it is inclined one. So due to this inclination, longitudinal waves passes into the material at an predefined angle. So appropriate setting of distance between the test specimen and probe is very important. So to get the better evaluation of component, the distance between this probe and the plate is very important and it needs a special care while adjusting this distance. So this distance is adjusted so that time required to send the beam through water must be greater than the time required by the beam to travel through the test specimen. So time required to send the beam through water, time required for propagation of sound wave into the water must be greater than the time required to propagate the sound wave into the material. So mathematically this distance is equal to small t divided by 4 plus 1 by 4 mm. T is nothing but time. So next type, bubbler. If you see this image, the ultrasonic beam is directed through a water column into the test specimen. Means water supplies continuously in between the transducer and the test specimen, and overflow of water coming out at the interface between material and the pot. Means it is also one type of immersion testing. Transducer is immersed into the water, but instead of steady water, water is continuously flowing into this pot. So we get the fresh water in between the interface of probe and the component. So this technique is usually used with an automated system. So manually there are we can say difficulties to operate this testing method. So we need a special type of automated system for high speed scanning of plate, sheet, strip as well as cylindrical form and other regulatory shaped forms. So in this case, we need a faster rate of scanning. So the ultrasonic beam is either directed in a perpendicular direction, that is normal direction, to the test specimen to produce longitudinal view. Means that we can use angle probe as well as normal beam probe to inspect the component. So both type of angular and normal beam probe can be used in this technique. So third technique in immersion sorry. So in the wheel transducer technique, the ultrasonic beam is projected through a water filled tire into the test specimen. Means this tire itself filled with water, and this water helps us to transmit the sound energy into the test specimen. So continuously water is in between the test specimen and the probe. So the probe mounted on a wheel axle is held in a fixed position while the wheel and tire rotates freely. So this method is useful to inspect the petroleum tank, gas vessels, pressure vessels, which are huge in length as well as too much height. So that can be inspected, these kind of pressure vessels which is high in volume and size, that can be inspected with the help of this wheel transducer technique.